Hey everyone, it's Eric and Alyssa. Sorry we haven't been on here in a while. A lot's been going on since our last update, and I think emotionally and physically, we have been drained, and it was hard to get the energy to do an update. So here we are. Wanted to kind of give you guys a status update of what's been happening and just kind of our journey the last 4 to 5 weeks from our last update. So uh, we had a family meeting where we kind of decided where um, or they preempted the question of when we wanted to go home. Their idea of when they wanted us to head home was about December 7th. We pushed that date up a little bit to the 29th, and then ended up actually leaving a day early on the 28th of November. And so um, during that during those weeks, uh, leading up to that, we took over some responsibilities for Ellie while we were in the hospital. We were trying to really push Ellie hard, so it was some of the fun things we got to do with Ellie as we went along were she started riding a tricycle, which was just really great for her leg extension and strength. So we'd ride that around the hospital halls, and then we just passed the nurses in a circle. So everyone kind of saw Ellie, and that was exciting for people to see where she was at. We also had what's called an easy stand, where we would uh, she would sit in it, and then you kind of bring it up so that she could have standing time. So those were two things as a family we helped with in the rehab department. Um, and yeah, and then we spent the whole month of November as a family down in Oakland, and so it had its ups and downs, and but overall it was the right decision for our family to be there all together, and we found some time. Our parents came down and were able to kind of give us a break from they would be able to watch Ellie, so we were able to take the other two out a few times, and got to go see a Christmas movie together, and just kind of make sure we were meeting their needs as well at that time, and then we also had some fun with.
Yeah, we were really fortunate the week of Thanksgiving, it wasn't how we pictured Thanksgiving going. And, there's a little sadness around holidays when you're going through something like we've been going through. So we were really fortunate that the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we had three of our close family friends come and with all their kiddos. So we had 11 kiddos total. It was pretty crazy for us in the cafeteria and outside, but it was such a blessing for our family. For Ellie, that she remembered all those friends, which was really nice to see. It was definitely overwhelming for her, and we could recognize that, and saw the breaks she needed to take and things like that. But it was just really great and special to have that time. And we just did pizza and kept it simple, and it was really sweet. And I think it's also really good for Caden and Adeline just to have some friend time during this month where they're away from their routines even more crazy than it's been for the past few months. So that was really a blessing, and thank you to our friends who came for that. It really did make an impact, and it meant a lot. And everyone who visited, truly, we really appreciate it. It just meant a lot to us for people who would come all the way to Oakland and to visit Ellie and to see us and just to show their love and support. We really appreciate that. And then for Thanksgiving, we did a Whole Foods like order, and we had Katie and Josh, Eric's sister, and our brother-in-law, and our niece and nephew there, which was really fun for the kids, and it was nice to have family there, and it that was really fun. Obviously, it was different, like I said, and we were just microwaving that in the cafeteria. We did not bring a sharp knife; we had a plastic knife, and it was just, it was different. It was just different. And then that night, we had intended to watch Charlie Brown on like a projector in Ellie's room, and we had Christmas jammies. If you received a Christmas card from us, you would see on our Christmas card, that is actually Ellie's hospital bed. I know some people have asked, like, when did you find time to do that? One of our wonderful nurses took our picture in there, and that was really fun. Anyways, though, long story short, we misplaced our car keys, and it was just quite the adventure. We were looking everywhere for hours and hours, and we could not leave. And then we realized we can't even Uber because we don't have car seats for Caden and Addie, and it was just quite the adventure, and it was pouring rain, so we ended up Ubering at 10 p.m. Finally, one of the neighbors in the hospital lent us car seats. We borrowed their car seats, got in the pouring rain. The Uber guy couldn't get to us. It was just a disaster. Thankfully, praise Jesus, somebody turned our keys in to Lost and Found, and we found them the next day. So that was our little Thanksgiving adventure. I'm trying to think. I think
Yeah, and then two other things while we were in the hospital, as we kind of were finaling up the last couple weeks there. We met with Rehab Without Walls and went through our kind of assessment of where they wanted to meet with us, see Ellie, and kind of talk to us about what we could expect. And we finalized our team. So we have four therapists and a social worker
and a caseworker
and they've been approved for 25 hours a week to work with Ellie. So that's physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and then they have what's called recreational therapy, which is fun, which is they kind of use play to help Ellie. So like one of the things is like her left side's weaker and still has tremors, and so they'll use like, hey, let's roll a ball back and forth to each other or something along those lines in recreational therapy, and they say, okay, well, let's use your left hand to do so. So kind of reintroduces play to them, and then we have our social worker, who's great, and our caseworker, who's fantastic as well. So we met with them, and then the other thing was we were really hoping for better news with the next swallow test, and Ellie did not pass completely in her swallow test. So she was approved for all foods, but was still struggling and still does with thin liquids. So we have she's approved to swallow or to take in what's called honey thick liquids, and so we have a thickener that we have now that we have to put in all her drinks, whether that's they basically anything that we have that's a liquid, we can put this thickener in, and it gives it the consistency of honey, and so that's what she's been approved to drink. And we're still working with her since been home. Her appetite's really come back, and she's eating a lot more. And so we will go back for another swallow test
February.
In February. So that was a hard day to we were really hoping for her to be released, because then that kind of gave us a better path with the G tube, but she still had some aspirations and penetrations into her airways, and the scary part still was that it was silent aspirations and she wasn't coughing. So yeah.
Another thing too, I just want to mention that I know we have a lot. I'm sorry, it's been so long. She is down to only one medication, just to the Keppra, which is the seizure preventative medication, and so we continue to give her that here at home, and she just gets it once in the morning and once at night, just probably for just another month. It's like they want to do like a 6-month process, so I guess it'll be like another month and a half. But they did wean her off the gabapentin, which was for her leg in the hospital, and they slowly started to weaning her off, and which is great to be one less medication. We have seen a difference. She definitely shakes more on that left side, her left arm and left leg. And, that's just kind of it, but we can't keep her on the medication forever. And that was just kind of the process that she's got to, we've got to work with her body and to controlling that better and not, depending as much on the medication. So medication wise, I think, as you know, we came home with the G-tube, kind of like Eric was saying, which we knew we were going to come home with her in the G-tube. She's only had it for 7 weeks, but I guess we were just thinking that that would kind of, if she had passed the swallow, that we knew that we could get her some liquids, which means we would have to use it less. So, you know, we will go back. We actually have a follow-up for her GI with the GI team on January 2nd in Oakland. And then we have follow-ups with all of the other doctors, or like her team, orthopedics and orthopedic, rehab, neurosurgery, all on January 28th. And then we'll do another speech and swallow, like Eric said, in February. And then we'll see ophthalmology here, actually. And then we're working with her pediatrician here as well, along with Rehab Without Walls. I just want to say, and then, I'm trying to think. What else? Lots of equipment too. So not only did we have the stuff through Quorum, which is where we get all of her feedings supplies. We have her pump and her bags and her formula and her syringes and her extensions for her G-tube and all of that kind of stuff. And our nurses were great with giving us a bunch of extra things to help us out, syringes and all of that. And then we had to deal with a lot of things for her wheelchair. It has been quite the battle, and there is so much that went on with that, and delivery to wrong places and so many things. We ended up just purchasing one, and we are still in the process of getting the correct walker. So she needs a different walker, the sizing, all of that. So we're still looking for that. So we do have a wheelchair, and we've been happy with that purchase. And now we're still working on the walker. And I think, so yeah, as far as equipment, that was an adventure and crazy. And we were kind of dealing with that separate because Eric did end up coming. Eric and Adeline and Caden went home on the Sunday before. So we came home on Wednesday the 28th, and they went home that Sunday. And he kind of got stuff ready here at the house. And so Caden could come back to school, and they could do that. And then they ended up coming back to get Ellie and I on that Wednesday when we did the discharge. And so for me, when I was there, those last few days, one of the things that they did do, which was really ended up being a gift and has helped us so much at home, is they kind of started taking away some of her feeds in kind of the hopes to starve her, to motivate her to eat foods. And it really worked. I wasn't sure, I didn't know what to expect. They they assure you she'll be fine. We're not, they still gave her morning and her night feed, but they took away the day feeds, and it really did work. It motivated her, and which makes sense. She wasn't hungry before, so that was really good. And our nurses were just so amazing at just going through everything with me, making sure that I was comfortable giving the medications, with the cleaning her tube, changing it, just everything, just her feedings. They had me do all of the feedings and everything those last couple days, and they were just so great. And they sent us home with a very organized book with all the numbers and appointments and everything we could possibly need, which was just so amazing. And it was very emotional for me those last few days. And our nurses were so great. One of them, who had promised her, before she could even speak, they had these little ice packs that they called donuts. And she told her that once she gets back, once she was well enough and she could eat, she was going to have a donut party. And sure enough, on the Tuesday before he left, she brought in a bunch of donuts, every colored sprinkle donut they have, because Ellie ended up telling her she liked sprinkle donuts. So she brought those all in with another, one of the nursing assistants, and we had a little donut party. And it was just so sweet. And everyone loved to share the stories of, how they first connected with Ellie with me. And I hadn't heard a lot of them. And it was really special and just really moving for me, and it meant a lot. And as I had a shift with each of our primary nurses before we left, I just shed so many tears, and there was so many hugs, and it was so great. And so many of them exchanged numbers with me, and I'm still in contact with, and I'm just forever thankful for them. And I think about them daily as we've been home, and it really meant a lot, and it was very emotional. And the nurses and the therapists and the doctors there, they really did become like our family these past, the 16 weeks that we were there. And it's, it's been hard. But it also was just meant so much, and we're forever thankful for that team. So that was kind of my last week before we came home. And
so I came home a little bit early with Caden and Adeline and tried to get things settled here. Our house was a disaster for many days. And then we thought we were doing well by getting stuff out of Ellie's room early and down to the car, and that when we left that day on Wednesday, it wasn't going to be much, but I ended up taking 2 trips with a 3-tiered cart of just toys and stuffed animals and blankets, and I mean, it was amazing how much stuff we accumulated over the weeks that we were there. So we all came home on, or we got to bring Ellie home on the 28th Wednesday, and to that point, it had been our focus and our goal to bring Ellie home. And when you're working towards a goal like that, um, you kind of have it's kind of a mindset, and it's kind of your day-to-day work, and you're thinking we're going to bring her home, and it's not romanticized, I don't want to say, but you definitely have expectations of what'll be, and you're excited about it. I think that hit pretty hard when we got Ellie home, that it was not what we expected, in the sense that what we didn't realize, that, or at least what I didn't realize, was how much it was going to show where Ellie was truly at. When you're in a hospital, when the people next door are in a wheelchair, when everybody has G tubes or NG tubes, you're kind of surrounded in a bubble of other families dealing with same or similar traumas. Coming home and then realizing that, yeah, my daughter is in diapers, and I'm changing a 5-year-old, and she doesn't, she can't go and brush her teeth by herself now. You have to sit with her in the bath, or I mean, sit in in the bathroom while she's taking a bath, and I mean, she wants to get on a chair, she wants to get off a chair, all the things that she was doing as a 5-year-old running around her house, no longer was the case, and you know that, but it doesn't quite hit you in reality until you're back home, and that has been tough. I know that's been really, really tough on me. It's been very emotional since we've been home, and very hard. Lots of ups and downs, lots of different things, feelings. So we also started therapies right away. So Wednesday we came home, Thursday was our caseworker came over, Friday we were doing therapy. So we jumped right back into it, trying not to skip a beat. Of course, with the therapist having to get to know Eliana and where she's at, and them doing their own assessments, we did, I feel like, regress a little bit, because it wasn't just picking up where we left off. It was now our new team has to meet and get to know Ellie. But they've been great, and we're trying to work through that. It's a lot when you're trying to plan your day, when you have three therapists coming throughout the day, and you have drop-offs for your other kids, and it's quite a lot. So we're working through that, trying to do our best. One of the things that we did notice, which I found very interesting, is one of the, I think it might have been our social worker, brought up that traumatic brain injuries actually can bring out or heighten people's personalities. And one thing that we've really noticed also about Eliana, and has been such a blessing to us, is that she's had a happy demeanor through this whole thing, and being home with her brother and sister, we've seen her just continue that happy demeanor. She's been playing really well. Her brother and sister have, they don't treat her any differently, and they've actually, in how we've seen it, is they actually get along better, and they're playing really well together. And one of the things that we also seen is that Adeline wants to sit next to her at the dinner table, doesn't want to leave her side. It's very sweet to see their relationship blossom.
Yeah, that is, and I kind of want to end on a happy note. I mean, not that these aren't happy, but I do just want to say, like, some of the updates that I know we wanted to include, though, too, was with the TBI. There are some things that happen, like, yes, that's heightened, and that's kind of been the positive side of it. One of the other things that's been kind of a challenge, or not necessarily a challenge, but different, is what we've noticed is it can also affect their temperature. If you knew Ellie well before, you knew she was a flip-flop girl and a sundress girl, and I had to battle that girl to wear coats. Now she is freezing all the time. She has to have socks on all the time. Her hands and feet, the circulation, she runs colder. She always wants to wear a jacket. We have blankets on her. She's sleeping with, she didn't want to sleep with blankets before. She'd sleep on top of her blankets even if it was cold. She has, it's just very different, and all her senses are heightened. Sound, light, all of that affects her. The vacuum came on. When she heard the vacuum for the first time, it was like a little bit of panic, and she covers her ears. If anything's slightly loud, she covers her ears, and you can tell she gets this look, and it's just hard to watch. We can definitely deal with that. It's not that, but it's just kind of adds to that. And she despises her G-tube since we've been home. She didn't like her shirt to be up before, but she didn't mind the feedings, and she didn't like the cleanings and stuff. But now it's like, it just breaks my heart, and it's really hard, and she doesn't like it. As she called it, her 2B. She does not want her 2B. And it took her a full week to realize we were at home. That was hard for me. She just kept saying she wanted to go back to her hospital room, and she wanted to go back to her room, and next thing, this is your room and you're at home, and she didn't get it. And that was hard for me. That was kind of, for me, that was really tough. Because like Eric said, we'd just been wanting to be home, and I just wanted to be happy and just be home, and it just really was not like that. It was not, it was very hard. It's been hard. We are, I think, finally kind of getting a grip. Our house, finally, we found spots for stuff, and we're working on it. It's still an ongoing process, but I feel like we can take a breath. And then I think, just like what you were saying, you were great. I'd like to have that. The bond, yes, the bond with our children is, something that definitely gives us strength and keeps us going. Caden, I know everyone wants to hear Caden updates. He is just so sweet with his sisters. It really is amazing. And the past couple nights, he's been asking me before bed, like, Mom, how can I help you? And what can I do? And I'll be like, can you grab the shoes, everyone's shoes, or, help me put Ellie's AFOs away, or things that Ellie, did. It's kind of like we have to take on a lot more than we did before, and that's part of figuring it out. And he's just been so great, and we've really been trying to spend some time with him. So after the girls have been going to bed earlier than they did before. Ellie's very tired, and Addie does what Ellie wants to do, so that's also helpful. For the most part, that's how it's been going, and so we've been trying to play games with him after the girls go to bed. Like tonight, we played Mexican Train, and he gets little extra treats after, when little sisters are in bed, and we're really trying to make that an effort and really give him extra grace when he is, acting out, and try and take a deep breath and remind ourselves, yes, he needs to be respectful, but we also need to give him a little extra grace and kind of navigate when that is his way of saying he needs some more attention, or he is just acting out, or it's a little bit of both, and kind of figure that out. But overall, and Adeline is just like, I've never seen anything like it, how she's just so happy to have Ellie home and her sister. I mean, she cries if she can't sit by her. She cries if they don't have the same clothes matching. It's just, that's definitely a little gift, I think, to us of their closeness. And right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add? Okay. With all of that being said, there is something that we've really wanted. We've tried to be respectful and just, working on timing for all of this. And, but it is something that we really have wanted to share. As most of you know, the Marshall family, Caitlin and Finley and Tatum, were in the accident with us. It was the 6 of us girls. And Tatum went home to be with Jesus that night. And this past weekend was her memorial. And we just, something I wanted to do. It was a beautiful memorial, and Matt mentioned sharing memories and things, and we were really blessed to have been a part of Tatum's life. And I just kind of, I don't have the right words or anything, but I did write a little something down that I wanted to share, and I'm actually just going to read it because it's too hard to just get through. But I just, here she is, for those of you who weren't there, and she's just so beautiful. And this was their program from the memorial. And so I'm just going to kind of share these are just my thoughts and a little bit for me. So I'm just going to read them to you. So this past Saturday, the 15th, was Tatum's memorial, which would have been her first birthday. I remember the day she was born. Caitlin sent me a text that it was baby time, and I wasn't sure if she was joking or not because she had just had a doctor appointment and she wasn't due for 7 more weeks. I quickly called her, and she said she was at the hospital and Matt was on a plane to Seattle. I left my girls with a friend and drove to the hospital. I was overjoyed when Matt made it back to be with Caitlin and see his sweet girl be born. But it was scary and emotional as Tatum had a rough start to life and would spend the rest of 2017 in the NICU. I felt for their whole family as Caden spent the first week of his life in the NICU, and I knew what it was like to not bring your child home from the hospital with you. Tatum did come home in the new year, and as all who were blessed to know her know what a sweet, happy, joyful baby she was. I loved holding her and breathing in her sweetness, and she smelled so good, that wonderful baby smell that there's nothing like it. One of my favorite memories is walking around in Matt and Caitlin's living room and kitchen in a circle while holding Tatum to get my 10,000 steps in with Caitlin, and Tatum would just be so content, and we would laugh because as Tatum got bigger and grew, she would be giving my arms a workout too. On that Thursday, as Matt mentioned in his beautiful tribute, Tatum did not fall asleep on our drive to the beach, and Caitlin and I thought for sure she was going to fall asleep, but she was staring at Caitlin with such intensity. I have never seen a baby do that, and it wasn't for just a minute, but a long time. Looking back, like Matt said, and Caitlin has pointed out to me, it was like she was burning it into Caitlin's mind that she loved her. When we ate dinner after the beach, she fell asleep in my arms, and I snuggled her throughout dinner. Caitlin even took all the girls to the bathroom for me so I could keep holding Tatum. I am grateful to have spent time with her. Tatum, I was there the day you came into the world. I was there the day Jesus took you home, and I look forward to the day when we can see you again. The memorial was very emotional for everyone who was there, but so beautiful. Caitlin's letter to Tatum in the program and Matt's tribute and Greg's message were also heartfelt and Jesus-centered. One thing I know that for the 4 of us, myself, Eric, Matt, and Caitlin, something we agree on is that we hope for good to come through all of this. We know God is good and he can use our situation for his glory. I have felt called towards women's ministry since my early 20s and have been doing that for the past 10 years. When I became a mom almost 9 years ago, my focus switched to other moms, and now after an accident, both Eric and I feel called to help other families who have gone through a tragedy and have had to spend time in the hospital or are spending time in the hospital. And Matt and Caitlin have felt led to help other families who have lost a child. They have set up a website in honor of Tatum to do just that. The website is www.tatumwilla.org, and we will link it into our post. At the end of Caitlin's letter to Tatum in this program, she wrote, "I think you might have done more in your 8 months than some people do in 80 years. And that struck me hard and with so much emotion. Both our families have been through a tragedy, but God is going to bring good through it all." And I just think, can you imagine how many people our 2 families can reach and God can bless through us? When the sadness and depression start to swallow me up, I try to hold to that hope, to God's goodness, and I pray for strength. I ask for you to continue to pray for our family as we navigate our new way of life, and for the Marshall family as well as they continue to grieve. I just thank you all for watching and for all of your love and support.
Thanks, guys.